Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day and pick number 17 of my favorite 30 cover songs of all time. We've crossed over the halfway point. We've got just about 2 weeks left, right? Thereabouts. Talking about cover songs, where a band or artist takes a either very notable song, makes it their own, may or may not be better than the original, but it's still really good, or takes a very obscure song, does a cover, and the cover kind of takes off, and that becomes kind of like the facto default version of that song that everybody talks about. In this instance, this is one of those, this comes from a time where people would do cover versions of songs that only came out a year or two before they did the actual cover of them. That doesn't always happen, right? But it happened a lot in the 60s. So yes, both of these versions here of this song come from the 60s. And I would argue that both are really great at what they do. I probably favor the remake a little bit over the original, but I really love the original a lot. It's hard. I go back and forth because the original is terrific. And I know there's going to be some people watching who, of course, will pick the original and probably still like the cover as well. But the cover does some different things, which I think is really cool. But let's talk about the original first. So it came out on an album that was released October 30th, 1967. However, the single for this song was released in June 1967, recorded at Columbia Studios, Sunset Sound Studios, and Gold Star Studios in Los Angeles, California, as well as Atlantic Studios in New York City. Produced by the band, as well as Jack Nitzsche, Ahmet Ertegun, Brian Stone, Charles Green, and the rest of the band for Atco Records. I'm talking about Buffalo Springfield again. The song is Bluebird. Yes, indeed. A really, really cool album from Buffalo Springfield. Again, a band that was not around for all too long, but created some great music over the span of just a couple of years. So here we're talking 1967, right? So this is before the big solo careers or big, even bigger bands. You had Stephen Stills, Neil Young, Richie Furay, Jim Messina, Dewey Martin, right, on drums, Bruce Palmer on bass. Pretty cool band. You got 3 guitar players here. 3, of course, Stephen Stills and Neil Young go on to great solo careers, but also in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. You got Richie Furay, who would go on to Poco, of course. So these guys worked together here in this band early on. Did some really, really great things, but like I said, this band didn't stick around for too long, but pretty much looked at now as a super group, based on what everybody did kind of following after. And, Buffalo Springfield, I guess, folk rock, psychedelic rock, pop, maybe country rock, all kind of, rolled into one. Little bits of hard rock here and there. Very, very talented band with some really, really great songs. And Bluebird was one of the notable tracks off this album, along with, Mr. Soul and Rock and Roll Women and a few others, right? So the first album is the one that got the most notoriety, but I really like the second album quite a bit. And this song would go on to reach number 63 on the pop singles charts here in the States in 1967. So, not great, not terrible, right? It's more of kind of like a deep album cut that was related to single status, not one of their more blockbuster tracks, but still really, really good. I think Rock and Roll Women did a little bit better than this did, but still really good song and holds up really, really well. It kind of rocks, but it's very clever with all the use of backing vocals. It's very rich harmonically. Great guitar work. You got some nice soloing from both Neil Young and Stephen Stills on this. Cool little keyboard parts as well. Really, really good song. Really good song, actually. So the cover that I'm picking here today was released March of 1969, recorded on an album that was produced at the Hit Factory in New York City, produced by Bill Shimzik. That name comes up again, right? Didn't we already talk about an album from him just like a week or so ago? For Blues Way Records, I'm talking about the James Gang, Your Album, their debut album, and of course, their version of Bluebird on here, which, sung by Mr. Joe Walsh, who also plays the guitars, and the piano on this track as well, because it does have some piano in the song, right? We got Tom Criss on bass guitar and vocals, Jim Fox drums and vocals. That's the original trio of the band. Of course, Tom would leave after this album, and then the de facto classic lineup of the band would take place, although Joe Walsh did not stick around for all that much longer, right? He only stayed for the first 3 albums and that classic live album, and then we've got other guitar players coming in eventually, Dominic Troiano, and then of course Tommy Bolin, right? So, but yeah, their version of Bluebird, really good. It starts off, it's pretty mellow to start with. You got nice little guitar parts and the piano, and then all of a sudden, about like a minute or so into the song, it becomes this big, bruising, bluesy, heavy rock song with big bottom end on the bass and really crunchy guitar riffs from Joe. And I think a really good vocal from him as well. Nice guitar textures, just really good rockin' song. Again, it keeps the spirit of the Buffalo Springfield version intact, but it totally James Gangifies it, right? For lack of a better term. The James Gang, an interesting band. They were a great hard rock band. They were a blues band. They were a pop band. They did some folky stuff. They did some country rock stuff. A little bit of everything. Never really got kind of pigeonholed into one style. If you listen to those 3 albums, you get a little bit of everything on all 3 of them with Joe Walsh. But you can really, hear the talent coming from Joe on these early albums here. And of course, he would go on to have a long solo career, also big part of the Eagles for many, many years, still to this day. But yeah, there's some great stuff on here. I almost picked, because could have gone 2 ways on this record, right? Could have gone with Lost Woman as well, which is their version of a Yardbirds track. That's really good also. I was going back and forth between them. I'm like, which one do I pick? Which one do I pick? But I ultimately decided to go with Bluebird, because I think I like Bluebird just a little bit more. And I also like the song a little bit more than Lost Woman. Lost Woman is fine for what it is, great song. But Bluebird is a triumph for them. And again, like I said, both of these versions, both the original and the James Gang version, are really, really great in their own ways. And I think that the James Gang do enough different things with it, which is really cool. They keep, the melodies kind of the same and everything. Obviously the lyrics are the same, but they totally rumble it up a bit, which I think is really cool. And it gets pretty heavy in spots. Really good. It's kind of headbanging in spots, which is very cool. So, yeah. Oh, also Stop is on this album, too. I forgot. You have 3 great covers on here from James Gang. So you got Lost Woman, Bluebird, and Stop. Stop is also really, really good. So Stop and Lost Woman, lots of jamming on those 2 tracks. That's kind of why I didn't pick them, because I think Bluebird is really great, because it just basically takes a 4-minute song, adds another 2 minutes for a little bit of improvisation, a little bit of soloing, and just kind of stretches it out a little bit. But it's still, the essence of the song is really there, and they make it nice and heavy and groovy, which is really cool. So yeah, and was this ever released as a single from this album? I don't believe so. Yeah, this the James Gang really weren't hitting on the singles charts until probably the second album. You got Funk 48 on here. That was then, we got Funk 49. That's all of a sudden when the James Gang started to do better on the singles charts. But I would say stuff like Take a Look Around. That's a great, great song. I love the organ on that. That's definitely possibly singles material if it wasn't released as a single at the time. But, Bluebird, really, really well done. So yeah, that's my pick for today. Bluebird by the James Gang. Of course, the remake of Bluebird from Buffalo Springfield from their Again album. Let us know what you think of either of these versions, but specifically the James Gang version. That's the one that's my pick for today. And list your pick down below as well. And we'll see you tomorrow for another one. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options. Thanks in advance for all your support, folks. It's greatly appreciated. We'll see you soon here with more stuff. Should have more new album reviews coming for you this week. Got new Atomic Rooster. I got the new Daryl Weighs Wolf Cadenza box set of all their albums. We've got new Leprous Live. I got a few vinyls here that I do want to review. Some prog stuff here. And a few other things. So all sorts of stuff as it comes. We'll see you soon. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.